Welcome back to Spirit Spells and Magic. It is Mabon, the Sabbath of the autumn equinox. It is the second harvest, and you wouldn't know it in Sydney, not in our backyard. I went out to have a little look and see what I could harvest, but again, it only seems like basil is the only thing I could really use. And I think I'll let it grow a little bit longer, because in the next episode, I'm thinking of making a basil pesto. But for now, we're still buying our fruits and veg from the shop. However, we have noticed that there are a couple of things that look as though they may take off. Our capsicums are starting to grow little bulbs that might be little capsicums about to grow, as well as our zucchini seems to be flowering. So we're very keen on what's going to happen there, and God willing, or the universe willing I should say, something may eventuate. But it all comes down to the weather, and we're having some really hot days followed by some really rainy days. So it's one extreme to the other, and the poor plants don't know which way to turn. But the summer season almost over, and well, let's face it, we're still in summer with the 39-40 degree days in New South Wales. It's crazy, and other parts of Australia are way over 40. But at this stage, it's on the decline, hopefully. We are going to start getting some cooler weather, and maybe, just maybe, we might be able to grow something through the cooler months. We'll see how it goes anyway. But for the autumn equinox, or Mabon, we're going to look at some tasty treats using things that would normally or traditionally have been picked around this particular time. Americans love fall. They love the autumn time, which now they're going into spring as they're our opposite. But they love this particular time because not only is it bringing on Halloween soon, for them, not us, but it also is a time where it's cooler and it's just a pretty time of year. Everything turns, the leaves turn orange and brown and red. They haven't started doing that yet. As I said, we're still technically in summer, and we probably will be for another couple of months, as when winter hit, we didn't get into summer really till pretty much, didn't even have a spring technically. The seasons are all so muddled, they've got me muddled, but we're still hopeful that something will eventuate. Now, this is a good time for cleaning up, cleaning house, spring cleaning, but also autumn cleaning. We've had so much heat and some of our plants have had it. It's a time of out with the old and in with the new, starting with the altar. And then from the altar, the garden needs a bit of a spruce up. Usually it's harvest time, and there is only one more harvest before winter, which is Samhain, our Halloween. Our thinning of the veil, which is the 30th of April, 1st of May, when America and the northern hemisphere are celebrating their Ostara. Our garden's just going to be left for a little while. We're clearing away the ones that have died and making room for things that we will be planting when it gets a little cooler. This Sabbath, Mabon, or Mabon, depending on where you are and how you say it, it's the type of the autumn equinox. In Welsh mythology, Mabon is a Welsh god. Mabon is also referred to as the witches' Thanksgiving, a time to reflect on the harvest. It is the second of the 3 harvests, and by now you know what you have, and it's a time of being grateful for what you've received. And for the triple goddess, she now becomes a crone. Having been a maiden in spring, a mother in summer, and now as the autumn declines into winter, she becomes the crone and then dies in the winter. It is a time when the Holly King takes over from the Oak King, and we descend into the time of darkness. But not to despair, we still have the third harvest being Samhain, not too far away. It is customary to visit cemeteries at this time for Ireland to appease them, as it's coming toward the time when the veil is at its thinnest. And of course, the traditions of making corn dollies is always fun, as well as one thing that we're going to do very soon, before Samhain if we can. We've had quite a bit going on over the past month. Our dog wasn't very well, and it's just been a bit crazy with school starting and things like that. So we're trying very hard to get ourselves organised and probably move in the next few months as well. We are hoping to make something for autumn, but first we're making our tasty treat, which is choc chip oat cookies. They may not have had choc chips back in the day, but they definitely would have had oats, and this would have been something that they made for an offering or just to use up some of the things that they were able to harvest. And of course, something sweet for the kids too. Now for this recipe, we have rolled oats, self-raising flour, bicarb of soda, as well as salt, caster sugar, brown sugar, 1 egg, butter softened, maple syrup, choc chips, and some vanilla extract. Now you need to mix up the ingredients separately to start. I don't have my little helper here today, so I've had to film this with a camera on a tripod. Apologies if it's not visible enough for you to see, but I'll explain it as we go. Now it is 1 cup of flour. I used self-raising, to 2 cups of oats, and we place that in a bowl. Half a teaspoon of baking soda or bicarb soda. And we also put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We mix that all together till combined. And then we look at the sugar items, which is 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of granulated or caster sugar. We also put in 1 egg and 100 grams of butter softened. And then we go mixing that up. You have to really stir it. It does say in the recipe to blend it together with a food processor. But if you're like me and you don't really want to get all of that out, and it's just as easy as mixing it with your hand, they're not ingredients that you need really blended together. So I used my arm strength to mix all that around, and it did just as good a job. I found with this particular recipe that it is a bit wet, so you may want to add a little more flour if you like, because when we add 1/4 cup of maple syrup, the mixture does get quite sticky. Now is a good time when you're mixing all the ingredients together. You're placing the sugar ingredients into the dry ingredients and mixing those together until combined. It's a good time to reflect on what you've received. We've come full circle now. We began this channel at Samhain. Next episode will be 1 year that the channel's been active, and it's been a real learning curve, or additional learning, and learning more about the witchcraft and witchy ways. It's really good to be able to do these recipes by myself or with my daughter, just to think back on how things were back in the day, and also to be grateful for what we have. We may not be the richest people in the world financially, but we do have each other, and we're rich in happiness and love. And it's a good time to set the intention of gratefulness. What are you grateful for? You may have a meagre harvest this time around, but what else do you have in your life that you're thankful for? It's a good time to thank the universe, or whoever you like, who your gods. Take that time to think back on the last 6 months since Astara and what's come into your life and how everything's changed, if it has, and be grateful and give thanks for what you have. And we'll be doing a grateful spell as well. And not too far away, we'll be doing a prosperity spell that we wanted to do back at Llamas. Time is getting on. We are almost full circle to Samhain again. A year old, this channel. It just seems like it was just yesterday putting this together. And we're only taking baby steps. We're not really fully into it yet. But I hope this coming year to have it a little bit more established and get more into the spirit and spells, the channel's namesake, and generally just having a bit of fun. I try not to take everything too serious, as there's enough seriousness in my life. This is my little side hobby and what I'm trying to work into my future, manifesting the life that I want, as well as going back to the roots of our ancestors. But back to the recipe. Now, once you've mixed and combined the wet and dry ingredients, it is quite wet once again, so you may need to add extra flour, but try and get them into some kind of a ball and place them on a baking tray with baking paper or parchment paper so that they don't stick, and they are so sticky, let me tell you. So once you've done that, try and get them into a ball or at least small blobs, because they will flatten out. Once finished, allow them to cool before trying to eat them, and you may want to let them on a little longer to 15 minutes, depending on how brown you like your cookies. Time for a witchy spell, and as mentioned, we are doing a gratitude spell. We need an orange candle for this particular spell. As we watch the candle burn down, we say a special word for this particular time. Once the candle burns down, we write down a list of the things that we are grateful for. What do we have gratitude for at this particular time? You can take a look back to Astara. What improvements have there been in your life? And write those down. Afterwards, you can simply burn them or bury them in your backyard. You can say anything you want and have the intention of gratitude. I wrote a little special thing. I'd seen some other gratitude spells, but they really weren't for me, so I wrote my own. And it goes, here at Witches Thanksgiving, celebrating how we are living. Mabon, Welsh God, bless us now. We wipe the sweat from off our brow. Gather up the harvest to feast, giving thanks for what we eat. As the candle burns away, we are grateful to be here this day. Autumn time rolls toward a close. Pray our blessing from Equinox to Samhain flows. But you can write anything you like. That's just me. But definitely put the intention into it, and it's your power that goes into any spell that we do. Thank you for watching this episode on the Mabon and Autumn Equinox. We hope to have more episodes up very soon, with more cooking and spells, and some more book reviews, because I've been reading a couple and I really want to share them with you. But for now, have a wonderful Autumn Equinox and Mabon celebrations. And as always, Namaste.